Sal Paolantonio, Dunkin' Donuts, of course, right here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. The Dallas Cowboys with Sal, a shocking, stunning victory last night?
Oh, it was certainly stunning. I mean, I thought that the Cowboys played a real good game. There's no question about that. But for them to hold the New Orleans Saints like they did, just says if you play physical defense in the NFL, you still have a chance to win big games.
You sure can. Score a medium hot and iced Dunkin' coffee for $1 on every Eagles game day. That will be Monday. Use your perks, enroll DD card, and that excludes the cold brew. I'm going latte style. I changed to a latte guy all of a sudden there, Sal.
Oh, nice. Fancy. You're a regular aristocrat.
I liked, I don't know about you. Right now, their defense puts them. I don't know if they win that game in New Orleans, but their defense is for real.
Well, here's the deal. First of all, you got to factor in it's a Thursday night game. The road team on Thursday night always has trouble. There's a sluggishness involved. You don't have much time for your body to recover from Sunday.
Well, both those teams played on Thanksgiving, so they both had a full week.
Yeah, I understand that. I get it. Still, it's a Thursday night game.
Yep.
And you're on the road. It's tough.
Yep. No, and look, I say I like their defense. I like their running game. I don't know that I trust them, though, in a road situation, so I still like the two teams better than them.
I don't. No, I don't. But here's the thing. You're not going to beat New Orleans in New Orleans.
No.
I'm sorry. You're just not. And so this was a good thing for the Rams. And it was a good thing. It was pretty much a good thing for the Rams. It was a good thing for the Rams. The Cowboys did the Rams a big fat favor. There's no question. Because, it's hard. It'll be hard for the Rams to win it. It always is. Highly NPT. You always have one bump in the road. They still have to go to Chicago. That's not going to be an easy game for the Los Angeles Rams. But now they have a little game cushion, so that's good for them.
Not good for Philadelphia.
No, it's not. I'm looking at the math, and there's a lot of different ways for this to happen, for them to get into the postseason. But here's the bottom line. On Monday night, you got to play for your season, And, Mike, I mean, come on. You got to be able to beat Colt McCoy at home in Monday Night Football. I'm sorry, you just do. And so this game to me is on Jim Schwartz and the defense, just like it was last night for the Dallas Cowboys defense. This game is on Schwartz and the defense. And McCoy was a lot different after the Cowboys started hitting him. When they played on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that.
Well, let me ask you then, because you say this game is on Schwartz. Anything you saw from Schwartz against the Giants that makes you feel good moving forward? Because I thought he did a good job in the second half making some adjustments.
Well, he did when he was implored by Malcolm Jenkins and some of his defensive leaders. I mean, I think the Eagles coaching staff right now is willing to try anything, but if you look at the Giants game, and we have not talked since the Giants game, but Mike, they had a big team meeting. I talked about it on SportsCenter on Countdown on Sunday morning last week. They had a big team meeting Saturday night in the team hotel, and they all talk about how important this game is and how fired up they are to play, and then they come out and they play flat. And then they have to make the adjustments on the fly, where Lane Johnson and Jason Peters and Jason Kelsey go to Peterson and say, hey, we got to run the ball. And Malcolm Jenkins says, we got to simplify things on the back end. We got young players, experienced players haven't played much with each other. We got to simplify stuff and just go after this guy. And they started to blitz a little bit more. It shouldn't be like that. That should have been the game plan going into the game, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and you said this coaching staff is willing to try anything. Does that include turning around and handing the ball to Josh Adams 20, 25 times?
Yeah. It's about time. I got one for you. The Eagles do not have a running back in the top 50 in the NFL in rushing attempts or yards.
Jeez. after what they did last year, where they did such a good job of balancing things out at the end of that game. Doug talked about a lot this week, the balance. So let me ask you.
That's on, and by the way, that's on Doug, but it's also on Howie. Come on.
Yeah.
It's also on Howie.
Well, you've expressed a lot on this show the lack of Blunt.
Yes, I have. Listen, I'm building a statue to Howie Roseman. It's gonna be Rocky and Roseman right next to one another at the Art Museum. He brought the first Super Bowl title to the Eagles. Now, notwithstanding that, I think he is open to criticism.
Sure.
For two major whiffs. He majorly whiffed on the Amari Cooper trade. Amari Cooper was available. The Raiders wanted a first-round pick. The Eagles wouldn't go higher than a second. That's been established. We all know that. Been reported. The Eagles whiffed on that, and they got a consolation prize. And Golden Tate has been, unable to become part of the offense.
So he's got 97 yards in 3 games.
And you know what? I went back and I looked at the splits on Golden Tate. While he was with the Detroit Lions, he played 63% of his games indoors. But 90% of his touchdowns were indoors.
Yep.
He had 20 touchdown catches indoors and only 2 outdoors.
Wow. Big split there. That's a big difference maker. And, a lot of those guys, we hear a lot about these guys, grass, turf, the difference there. I don't know that was taken into account, right?
Oh, I think it should have been.
Yeah.
It definitely should have been. When a guy plays an unusually high number of games indoors, 63% is a high number. He's not only playing at the Silverdome, he's playing inside when he played against Minnesota, too. So he played a lot of indoor games, and he scored 20 touchdowns when he was playing indoors and only 2 outdoors.
Unbelievable. All right, Sal Paolantonio here, Sports Bash. It's Monday night. Key matchup, Eagles offense, that Redskins defense. That Kerrigan gives me nightmares. Every time the Eagles play Washington, he seems to be a problem.
Yeah, and he lines up on both sides, too. So it's on the offensive line as a whole. Kelsey's got to recognize where he is. Peters and Jelaine Johnson got to figure out where he is. And they got to block him. And they got to block him with help if they need to. But without a doubt, protecting Carson Wentz is the number one job in this game for this offense, because that's where the Redskins hurt the Eagles last year, the Super Bowl year. And Wentz played in both those games against the Redskins, and it was a double A gap blitz right up the gut with stunts and movements and twists and games. And Kerrigan was coming from every possible angle. So I hope they did their film study and put their chin straps on Monday night, because they're going to have a problem.
All right, you mentioned Jim Schwartz needs to win the game. So what are we watching with the Eagles' defense against this very banged-up Redskin offense?
Oh, Mike, it's so simple. You got to go after Colt McCoy and make him extremely uncomfortable. You got to make him, have his head on a swivel the entire time. He doesn't even want to drop back and pass. So you got to hit him a lot.
Colt McCoy is like 9-22, by the way, as a starter in this league. When he's the backup, he comes in, gives him a spark, but when he has to start, big time drop off from Colt McCoy as the backup to when he has. What is
that number 9-22 as a starter?
I believe so.
Well, that's the bottom line is 9-22 as a starter. But you look at the first half against Dallas, and then go back and look at the second half, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference in Colt McCoy's play after the Cowboys started hitting. And they were late hits, they were chippy hits, they weren't getting called. Torbert was the referee, and he kept his hanky in his pocket, and he just let them tee off on Colt McCoy.
He wanted to get his turkey that day, right?
Wanted to get the heck out of Dodge. Yeah, exactly.
All right, give me a player on the Eagle offense that has a good chance to excel in this game against Washington.
I don't think there's any other than Zach Ertz. Really, I think they'll have trouble running the ball.
7-19, by the way. McCoy 7-19. I said 7-22. I was off of.
That's okay. That's a good number too. 7-19. That's pretty good. I think it's Zach Ertz. They're going to have trouble running the football, but they got to stick with it. Vermeil's old formula for victory was what? We heard it many times. I talked about it on the show all the time. Number of rushing attempts plus number of completions. If you add those two numbers up, the team with the highest total wins 99% of the time. So it's not about the number of rushing yards. It's about the number of rushing attempts.
Yep.
Number of rushing attempts plus number of completions equals victory.
Well, and Adams didn't have a big yardage game. He was just, 84? I mean, it's not like he had 150.
But he had a lot of attempts.
Yeah, 22 for 84. You take away the 52-yard run, I mean, he would have been over 140, but
yeah, as a team, they had 25. Now, here's something interesting. We went back, and we have a great piece on the NFL Matchup Show this weekend, and you can catch us at NFL Matchup on Twitter.
I love that handle, by the way. We follow that a lot.
Yes, and you know what, Mike? That staff that we have at NFL Films doing that Twitter for NFL Matchup, a guy named Ryan Doyle. He's a real young man. He does 90% of the work. We've had 15 million views in the last 30 days.
Excellent.
That's astonishing.
Oh, and by the way, don't forget Sal Paolantonio ESPN on the Instagram.
Yep, Sal Paolantonio ESPN on Instagram, and don't forget the book. Hey, did I send that to you, Mike? The new rankings just came out on Amazon.com on November 25th. We are still the number one book overall of all books in the entire Delaware Valley region. Number one, and still number one in Dallas-Fort Worth. And number two from Washington, D.C. to Maine.
Oh, wow. Nice. That Dallas thing is a great story. I love that. That one is excellent. All right, my friend, give me the lockdown keys to this game here, because the Eagles, look, even if they win, there's still a tough path to get. They're going to have to win. That means they would have had to win Giants, Washington, and you got to beat Dallas next week. You know when that happened? I told you a couple weeks ago, 2006, Garcia, they won back-to-back-to-back NFC East games.
Yeah. So I'm going to just stay with you got to win this game. And the Eagles are 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games, and 4 of the last 5 have been the under. They've only hit the number once in their last 5. So I think it's a close game. I would stay away from giving a lot of points in this game. They're just not scoring enough points because their offense right now goes through the tight end. This is the same thing as the Dallas Cowboys had a problem years ago. Zach Ertz is the key, no question, and he's about to break Jason Witten's record of most receptions by a tight end in one season. When Witten set that record, the Cowboys were 8-8 that year. The Cowboys were 8-8. So it's hard to have your offense go through the tight end in the passing game. Yeah. When your tight end is your biggest downfield threat. Chris Spielman talked about it on the broadcast last Sunday afternoon. So to me, the 3 keys to the game are really simple. Hit McCoy, run the football, protect Carson Wentz. Bang, bang, bang. You do those 3 things, you escape Monday night with a win, and I think they will. I think they'll win the game 24-19.
24-19. When the Eagles win, you win at Dunkin' Donuts. DD Perks members score a $1 medium hot or iced coffee the day after every Eagles win. And, hopefully the boys will get their coffees. You bringing them for a night game, you got to keep them up.
Exactly.
They can't fall asleep out in the lot at 11:30 at night when everybody's getting out of there.
No.
Sal Pal Fridays here on the Sports Bash. He appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Sal, enjoy the weekend, and we will see you on Monday night with all the coverage.
Great job as always, Mike Gill, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, pal. Sal Paolantonio here on the Boardwalk Honda hotline.